What's going on, guys? For those of you that don't know me, my name's Jimmy Benham with Sightline Steel Doors. We get asked all the time about the different products and profiles we offer, so I wanted to put together a quick video just talking about some of those different products and profiles. We offer essentially three ranges of profiles. We have our tubular steel profiles, we have our historic hot rolled steel profiles, and then we have our thermally broken cold rolled profiles. These are going to be our most energy efficient, also offered in a variety of different metals: Corten steel, galvanized steel, and bronze. And so today I wanted to touch on our tubular steel profiles. Tubular steel is very interesting. People often say, what do you mean by tubular? But it's exactly that, right? It's a tube in nature with a glass stop added, and it just adds a very clean, modern look, but it still has the flat edges and stuff that we're used to with an everyday wood door. Just very thin stiles and rails to get us that clean look. And so when we talk about tubular steel profiles, the way tubular steel has just changed and grown. Originally, that was more of what we were using for artisan doors, right? All the scroll work, all the very ornate details. And at that time, people were just using readily available materials, right? 2x6 tube. They're getting all the metal they need to, doing all the scroll work. They had operable glass to clean the glass and get behind that scroll work. And then as things have progressed to a more contemporary, more modern look, we were trying to get down to thinner profiles. And so what we're very proud of is that we've come up with this P tube, and it's exactly that. It's kind of in the shape of a P. And what that does is this is all cold drawn so that it's all one piece. And so essentially it's a 1x2 tube. It's got the built-in glass stop to make sure we just got something for that glass to stop against, but it's all one. So as these have progressed, a lot of our competitors are still just buying readily available materials. They're getting the 1x2 tube. They need something for that glass to stop against, so they're getting a 1/2 inch wide by 1 inch tall tube, and then they're tack welding it around the perimeter. Because of the amount of heat that's made from welding, they can't just run a continuous weld, so it's just tacking it in place and then running Bondo over it to just give it a smooth surface. But as you all know, Bondo is not a finished product, and the more of the solid materials you can have, the better paint you're going to have, the better finish, and just the better performance. So we love this because it's drawn through a die, and it gives us this built-in glass stop and allows us to ultimately be more efficient, but more importantly, have a better product at the end of the day. So with our cold drawn solid tubular steel profiles, we do offer thermally broken profiles as well in the tube profile. As most of you are saying, what is a thermally broken profile? Well, it just means that instead of that metal running all the way through, there's a thermal break. There's a polyamide or a high density polyurethane that breaks up that metal to metal. As we all know, metal is a great conductor of energy, whether it's electric or heat. And so in colder northern climates, that can be a problem when you get down to 20 degrees and your house is at 70 to 75 degrees. Where those two meet on your steel door, it can create condensation. Now, we're located in Charlotte, North Carolina, so our climate is very mild, and these tubular steel profiles perform great. So we offer these in a TDL and an SDL mutton, and what that means is that it's true divided light. When we talk about glass, we usually refer to the different panes as lights. So a TDL or a true divided light mutton, that means that we're physically breaking the glass, right? We have this T-bar. We end up having our glass on one side. It's all insulated glass, 5/8, and then we have another on this other side. What it does is it creates a real nice clean look as that steel is all welded and polished. But one of the downsides is that it does have not as good of energy performance, right? So one way that we've been able to make our tubular steel profiles more energy efficient is just going to an SDL mutton. So with the SDL muttons, because we don't have the back-to-back glass spacers, we can get to a thinner profile. So these are about 0.8 or 3/4 of an inch. everyone's trying to get to a thinner profile, and this allows us to. And one of the big benefits is that we do include this internal mutton, or a shadow bar as some people call it. This still gives us that great aesthetics that the glass appears to be broken, because a lot of times you'll see where people are doing an STL mutton, but then they're not doing any internal muttons, right? So then when you walk up on the door and you look down on it, you can see right through it. So it just doesn't have a great fit and finish in our opinion. So that detail provides great energy efficiency while still providing that great aesthetic. Now, when we get into our hot rolled steel profiles, these are our historic profiles. These are what a lot of you guys are seeing in the old warehouses. They're now breweries, but it's a very thin profile. It's almost got a Z-bar or an I-beam in nature. It's got 3 legs and then a horizontal structural member there. And what's great is that because the jamb and the door itself have that same profile, it creates a very clean interlock. Now, that interlock it's great for creating 2 points of contact, but it's very thin in nature. So we have a adhesive gasket on here that creates a good seal, but we primarily use these for accent windows, really just trying to get that really clean look. But we can do this for interior doors, accent doors, and exterior doors. But because the tolerances are so small, we tend to go to our tubular steel or our thermally broken profiles. Something else to consider is that because these profiles, the door and the jamb, are made as one, we are not allowed to or able to extend that jamb depth without adding a bunch of materials to it. So our tubular steel profiles allow us to meet the exterior facade needs while going to the interior drywall plane. And what that allows is that door can lay flat, right? So if we have a French or a single door in the historic profiles, we have to always get to that exterior facade for all of our waterproofing needs. But if you don't have a side light or something to keep that hinge off of that thick framing, then you're going to be hinge bound about 90 degrees or so. So definitely something to be considering, and really just understanding how these configurations and profiles work within one another. Now, getting to our thermally broken profiles, we have 2 different profiles that we commonly use. We have the Autostum MST50, which is from the same company as these. They have that same kind of Z-bar interlock and 2 points of contact. What is nice though is that they have rebated gaskets that snap right in, and they have more of a bulb to them for a better seal. Our preferred thermally broken profile is by Seiko Sistemi. This is a wonderful product. It is offered in Corten steel, galvanized steel, bronze, and stainless steel. So this is by far our favorite thermally broken profile, and what it comes down to is the fit and finish of it. As you can see, or may not be able to, but there are essentially these little tubes on this profile. And what that does is, because these profiles have multi-point for the best seals on them, we're able to run all that linkage within those tubes. For the other profile I mentioned, there isn't that space. So what happens is that if it's on a door or something with multi-point, you're going to end up having a surface applied linkage, right? And so that just doesn't create that real good fit and finish that we're trying to achieve. So we mainly use these on windows. When you're not having to worry about multi-point, it's more of that hand latch that keeps everything locked up. But our Seiko Sistemi are by far our favorite profiles. Now, being in where we are located, we're not as concerned about this, but when we get into very large fenestrations, huge curtain walls with operable doors, transoms, and side lights, or even whole house projects, we have to stick to those profiles because that's what's going to be the most energy efficient. So I appreciate you listening to our conversation today and giving you a quick overview. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at Jimmy Benham at Sightline Steel Doors. Thank you.